One of my most difficult speaking events was in Yakima Valley. I was doing some programs for Gear Up. These were students in grade 6 all the way through grade 12. And I'd be in these very rural communities, and I'm an outsider. And I would walk into these schools, and a lot of times they were in gymnasiums, and there would be, hundreds of students, 6 all the way through 12th grade. And these events were not going as planned. And I'm really good at doing this. Like, I can get students on my side. So it was like the third event, and I walked into this gymnasium, and it was hot, and no one was really interested in being there. So I started off and I said, "Hey, everybody, I'm Harlan Cohen. By a round of applause, how many of you don't want to be here and don't want to listen to me?" And it was more applause than I have ever received at an event. It was my most successful start of an event. And I just laughed, and I was like, I totally understand. I wanted to let you know that I come here from a place of love. Like, I really think I can help you. And if you're interested in listening, great. And if you're not, I totally understand. But I just wanted to let you know why I'm here, and that I really believe I can help you if you're open to participating. And at that minute, I did something I didn't even realize I was doing, is I surrendered all my power and I shifted my expectations. The expectations were no longer about me and what can I do to get people to like me and to respond the way I wanted. It was, I now surrendered my power to the people who were in the room. And if they wanted to listen, great. And if not, there was nothing more that I could do. And that event was fantastic. The whole tour, because I did a tour of like 11 schools, it totally shifted because I no longer was in charge. I let everybody be in charge of their own experience. And what I did, which I later learned was so powerful, is I wasn't tied to an outcome. Because when I went to these events, they had to be a certain way. I had to be great. People had to laugh and they had to like me. But I surrendered. And I was like, my only expectations are going to be that I'm going to show up and I'm going to offer. And I'm going to do everything I possibly can to give people something of value, students of value, to respect them, and to hopefully help them to get where they want to go, because I really understand how people can go from where they are to where they want to go. I get it, and I know how scary it is. And it's, what do you want? What makes you uncomfortable? It's people, places, patience. It's telling your story. It's celebrating, reflecting, and repeating. Now, that's the process I lay out in Win or Learn. This is my book, Win or Learn. And I haven't talked enough about this book. I get so much feedback from people who have read this book. This book has helped people in the most profound ways, like the most profound ways. It's been used at schools. It's been used for leadership programs. It came out at the peak of the pandemic. It's very easy to read. There are pictures. And I'm not someone who likes to promote myself a lot and sell, because I feel like it's trying to get you to do something. But in the same way I was working with those students in that gymnasium in Yakima Valley, it's like, I have something that can really help you. So why wouldn't I share that with you? The thing I love about this book is it spells out the universal rejection truth in the easiest to understand way. I love the universal rejection truth. I light up when I talk about rejection. The best things in my life has started with rejection. My wife rejected me on an online dating service. I never got the part or the role in high school. My senior year, I ended up being the lead writer on this, it was like an improv group, and I got rejected every year. I didn't get into Indiana University, where I eventually graduated from. I was rejected by syndicates while trying to syndicate my column. I've gotten rejected so many times. I get rejected every single day. Some of you are watching this, some of you aren't. The universal rejection truth, I think, is the most powerful truth in my life. The universal rejection truth says, not everyone and everything is always going to respond to me the way I always want. And for you, not everyone and everything could always respond to you the way you always want. You could be the best, the brightest, the most deserving, the most desirable, the most attractive. You could do everything right, but you will not always get the outcome you desire every single time. For students who are applying to college, the universal rejection truth of the college application process, a lot of amazing students aren't going to get in. I just saw a story about judges, and when they would review cases for parole, the judges who had eaten, this was some research and data, the judges who had eaten recently, they gave people parole. Like they approved their parole. The ones who hadn't eaten, the hungrier they were, the fewer people they approved. I wonder if that's true of admissions officers too. But it's so random, right? It's so random. The universal rejection truth of dating and relationships. Not everyone's going to always respond the way you want. Some people might like you today. Some people might like you in a year. Some people might not ever give you what you want. But there are lots of people. And the only thing we can do is work to be our best and offer. And if people are interested, great. And if not, we move on. The universal rejection truth of being in the classroom. You're not always going to get the grade you want. The universal rejection truth of applying for a job, of having a job. The universal rejection truth of doing something creative. The universal rejection truth of looking in the mirror. Sometimes we're going to love ourselves, sometimes we're not. The universal rejection truth is one of the most powerful truths of the universe. Because when you don't get what you want, instead of getting angry, instead of blaming yourself, instead of blaming other people, you can ask yourself, is it me? Is it someone or something else? Or is it the universal rejection truth, or a combination of it all? When I was in that event at Yakima Valley and students weren't responding, is it me? Could have been. And you know what? I learned it was me because I went in there and people didn't know me. It wasn't anything I did. It was simply the way I existed because I look different. I'm an outsider. And when you're an outsider, oftentimes you're rejected. But I made it clear I'm an outsider who doesn't need anything from you, and you are in control. And that shifted everything. If I got angry and frustrated and blamed people, I would have never learned. The universal rejection truth informs me. When I don't get what I want, I get curious. When I don't get what I want, I get curious. And this is the framework. I was doing another event at a high school, and I was working so hard. And this was a gym. Gyms are the worst. Like, gyms are hard because it's really difficult to contain a group, and just the space, it's just not as intimate. So I did. It was a great event, but there was this one kid who was like sleeping. Right, he was sleeping. His head was down. And I was really trying to get him, but he wouldn't budge. He was out. And the event ended, and guess who walked up to me? Mr. Sleepy. He said, Mr. Cohen, I wanted to tell you how much I enjoyed the event. And I thought, yes, I'm sure you did. You got a really good nap. I didn't say that, but I was thinking that. He's like, no, I wanted to tell you, I was up very late last night. I had a lot of things going on, and I was just resting, and I was listening to everything, and you really helped me. You really had an impact. And I was like, really? And he goes, yeah. And I said, wow, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Because the universal rejection truth is that some people are going to look like they're not paying attention, but they are, because there's things going on in their life. And I don't require people to be engaged or respond one way or another because I understand. But in that situation, I was really struck because I thought that this person was not interested, was rejecting me for whatever reason, but yet they were listening to me as closely as they could in a way that helped them to receive the information, right? I try not to make assumptions. But when I'm so tied to things being one way or another, and I don't get what I want, then I tend to blame, or I tend to get upset. But in that situation, it was another example of, when I'm doing an event, I have to surrender the outcome. Like, I can't be tied to the outcome, and I have to shift my expectations. This approach to life is so powerful because when you can embrace this truth and when you can give yourself permission to experience, you look at life like it's an experiment. And when I say it's an experiment, it doesn't mean you don't care. It doesn't mean you don't try your hardest. It doesn't mean you don't want things to go as planned. It means you try to do everything you can so that you can learn, so that you can get information, and that information helps you to then figure out how to take a second risk and a third risk. It's data. And so many of you are so afraid to experience, to experiment, to take risks because you're so tied to the outcome. And I get it, because in high school, if you want to go to a certain school or you want to get married or whatever it is, you have to achieve. You don't have room to experiment. You don't have room to fail. And you don't get used to this. You don't know how to do this. But wherever you are in your life, and if you're a parent or if you're a manager or whatever, when you leave room for experiments, when you leave room for people to not be tied to a perfect outcome, they learn, they grow, they win, they learn. This is Nelson Mandela's quote. I never lose, I either win or I learn. And that's what I want to share with you. That's what I want to teach you. So I hope you'll check out this book. And as we start this new year, the question of what do you want to create, change, or experience? What do you want to create, change, or experience? Can you think about that for a second? Can you give yourself permission to be curious? And I know a lot of you are afraid to be curious. You're really afraid. I do a lot of one-on-one coaching with students. And there are a lot of students who are too afraid to be curious because if you're curious, you know what happens? You get excited. And if you get excited and you take a risk and you don't get what you want, you know what happens? You get hurt. And if you get rejected, your brain interprets rejection the same way your brain interprets physical pain. So it's not that you're, someone who's not strong, it's that it hurts. So there are so many of you who don't know how to be curious because being curious means possibly getting hurt. And if you're not curious, how do you figure out what you want? And if you don't experience and experiment, how do you get information to help you to move forward or decide you want to do something else? So I challenge you, whoever you are, a student, a parent, a grandparent, an administrator, what do you want to create, change, or experience this year? What do you want to do? And I encourage you to check out Win or Learn. And I am hosting 12 weeks of Win or Learn sessions as part of my Best First Year College Success Program. I do this online program that's videos and coaching. It's the coolest thing I do. And the first 12 weeks are Win or Learn. So even if you're not into the college thing, you can sign up and you can participate in this. And again, I share this from a place of love, a place of light, a place of understanding. I know how to help people. I know how to help people to take risks, to process information, good information, bad information, uncomfortable information, in a way that helps them to look inward, to look outward, to move forward, to grow, and to get to places they've never imagined. I love doing this. I love being in your corner. I am so grateful for the gift of being able to be here with you, to share this, to deliver this. How cool is this? That I could record something and I can share it with millions, billions of people, right? It's scary because you could judge me, but what's scarier for me at this point in my life is not sharing something that I think could help people. I've surrendered. Whatever you think of me, you think. I'll learn, I'll grow. I know who I am. I know who I am. I want to help people. I want to serve people. I want to share something I've learned because I know it could help so many other people. So I invite you to come on this journey with me, whether it's through the book, whether it's through the Best First Year College coaching experience for parents and students, whether it's just through videos. You don't even have to get anything. I just want you to understand why I do this and where it comes from, because I'm a big believer that we are all worthy and deserving of living a life in alignment with the things we want and excite us. And I'm so grateful, and I'm just so lucky that I could be in your life to share this message with you and to be in your corner. Thank you, and I hope you will continue to come along on this journey with me because it's thrilling to be on this journey with you.